Okay, so welcome to this is the fifth chapter. This isn't chapter 5, but it's the fifth chapter that we're going over this semester. Discovering Computers and Microsoft Office 2013. So this is going to deal mostly with Windows 8, and it's kind of an introduction to some of the stuff that we're going to run into Office. So um, just get used to it. So it says that Windows 8 and 10, 10 is the newest version of Windows. Windows, it says it's the most popular and widely used operating system, and it is. It's used on probably 90% of the PCs on the planet. So it's pretty much the dominant operating system out there. It says below that an operating system is a computer program set of instructions that coordinates all the activities of the computer hardware, such as memory, storage devices, printers, and provides a capability for you to communicate with the computer. So that's exactly what an operating system is. It is the way that you interact with the hardware. Um, so if you save a file, it's the operating system that's going to convert that file to the ones and zeros and put it on the drive where you tell it to go. If you want to open an application, it's the operating system that's going to go to the hard drive, find out where that application is stored, pull it or read it off of the hard drive, put it in memory, and open it up. If you want to print something out, it's going to be the operating system that's going to convert that file into whatever it needs to go into to go to the printer and have it print off a copy of the file that you want to print it off. So it's the operating system that controls it all. Here is what Windows 8 looked like. This PC I've recently upgraded to Windows 10, so it's a little bit different. You see there's some similarities. It used to be this was the start screen in Windows 8, and everyone hated that. So when they released Windows 10, they kind of went back to more of a desktop. You can tell we still have the the ways to hit these tiles. It's just they don't take up a whole start screen like they used to. Okay, so these are some of the clicks that you'll do. So pointing is just me moving the mouse around and pointing to different things. Clicking is just me selecting this. So like if I were like now this slide is selected. If I go up here and click, I've now selected this slide. I can select things on my desktop, this kind of stuff. So that's just clicking. It says select or deselect items on the screen or run. So a right click, if you're in one of my classes, you'll hear me say this all the time. My favorite shortcut is right clicking, and the reason I like right clicking so much is because quite often if you're looking for something, you can find it just by right clicking it. And right clicking just means if you're using a standard right-handed mouse, it's using the right mouse button. And what it is like if you right click something, you're going to get a menu. So if I right click this icon, it's going to open up this menu. And maybe what I'm looking for is there. And quite often, whatever it is that you're looking for is there. So like if you, depending on what you right click, you're going to get a different menu. Because this is a right click on just an icon on my desktop. But I can go up here into PowerPoint and right click here. I say this. Come on. And there it is. I'm going to get a different menu. So like this one, if I wanted to change the font or change the paragraph or something like that, I have an option here that lets me do all that kind of stuff. So right clicking is just a really great thing. Okay, double clicking is just going to activate. Like if you're trying to run a program, if I wanted to open up Firefox, I could right click on it and it would open up. It says run app or feature. Triple click, we'll use this in Word. If you're in a paragraph, it may even work in PowerPoint. No, it's not going to. But if you're in Word and you want to select an entire paragraph, actually I bet it will. Let me go back up here. There it is. I just triple clicked. If I'm in here and I triple click, if I triple click this Windows 8 10 paragraph, it's going to select the whole thing, and it's just like click the mouse button 3 times really, really fast. If I double click a word, it's going to select the word. Single click is just going to move my insertion point wherever I click. So you can see there's where the insertion point is. Double click is going to select the word. triple click is going to select the entire paragraph. And then there's drag. I won't go over all these, but then there's drag. You can click on drag and just move something around on the screen. So let's move on. There's a scroll bar. You're used to seeing these things on web pages. So here's a scroll bar over here on the right side, on the left side of PowerPoint. And I can use that to scroll. Sometimes there's a horizontal scroll if like a web page is too big or a page is too big. Like if I were to take this and zoom it way up, like watch, I'm gonna zoom this like unbelievably large. And now you see I have a scroll bar down here at the bottom of the page. To get back normal. Not that small. Let's make this a little bigger. There we go. All right. So that's scroll bars. Okay, Office 2013 is the newest version of Office. If you've downloaded the version of Office from the school, you get all of this stuff. Here's like all the stuff that we're going to be discussing this semester. These first 4 applications are going to be the 4 that we go over this semester. You also can get Outlook. Outlook is an email program. And there's more. You also get all of these. The only one I know you don't get, I don't think you get the SharePoint Workspace, which we don't even go over in class anyway. But you do get the rest of these. So if you downloaded the version from school, you get a pretty good deal on it, considering it's free. Don't buy the student version because, as you see, you don't get access. You don't get Outlook, Publisher Link, or InfoPath. You don't get that. You only get 1 license. Everything we get here, you get 5 licenses. So you can put it on 5 different devices, which is a good thing. Moving on. Talking about running apps, there's different ways that you can run apps. If I have an app on my desktop, like if I wanted to open up iTunes, I could double click iTunes and it would open up. If I have a quick launch here, like if I wanted to open up Internet Explorer and I just have this thing on my toolbar, like you notice this is open because it's got these blue lines underneath. This just means these are things that are open. I don't have Internet Explorer open, but I could click on it and you can see it would open up. I can also, if I have this search bar, and this is in Windows 10, if I have this, I could like type in, like if I'm looking for Word, I could type in Word. And it's going to go through and try to find an application for Word 2013. And so it found it. If I click on that, then it will open up Word. I'll keep that open because I'm going to need it in a minute. All right. So these are some of the things that you'll find on your desktop. A recycle bin. You see, this is what it looks like in Windows 10. This is the desktop, which is just your screen, max, minimize button, those kinds of things. These are their taskbar. So some of these things. And we'll discuss these in a little bit more in a second. Maximizing and minimizing a window. Again, this is in PowerPoint. So here's my minimize, maximize buttons. If I click on the minimize, it will stay running. It's just going to minimize it down here to my desktop. So you see Windows is still here. If I put my mouse over it, I still get the screen of what it used to be, but it's just minimized. But if I click it, it'll open back up. Maximize, right now you see it's just opened in a window. It's not taking up the full screen. If I click on the maximize button, it will now take up the entire screen. And then this button, the maximize button, has now changed to a restore down, which will pop it back down into a window rather than taking up the full screen. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about ribbons. Let me show you ribbons. So let me get Word going here too. So up until Microsoft released Office 7, Windows Office had been the same, and it looked the same for years and years and years and years. When Windows 7 came out, there was a huge shift in the way that your interface looked. I mean, it used to be that you had a menu bar, which is just a list of menu items, and if you clicked on one, it would open up submenus, and sometimes there would be submenus and submenus. And then underneath that, you would have a toolbar. Well, with Windows 7, they redid everything. And then one of the things that they switched from was, instead of having toolbars and menu items, they had ribbons. And so what this means is like if these are the ribbons. So this is my home ribbon. This is my insert ribbon. This is my design ribbon. So I have all of these different ribbons that allow me to do different things, and all of these applications will have it because here it is in Word. Let's get Word this way. Here it is in Word. I have a home ribbon. I have an insert ribbon. I have a design ribbon. So I have these ribbons, and inside of these ribbons are all these little tools. Now these tools are related to what I'm trying to do. Now the home ribbon on all of the applications is just going to give you the most basic things, the things that you use the most. Save, centering, fonts, paragraphs, that kind of thing. And there's just going to be the different tools that you need to make all of that stuff happen. Now, for the most part, with these ribbons, because we're going to start off using Word, and if I look at the home ribbon in Word, first off, you notice that there are similar ribbons, because I have both of these, like Word and PowerPoint and even Excel, are going to have a lot of similar ribbons. And a lot of the ribbons, like the home ribbon, is going to be the same. There's going to be subtle differences, but they're going to be, for the most part, they'll be the same. So, like, this is my home ribbon, and one of the cool things about this is, like, we're going to start off using Word, and when we use Word, you're going to see that, like, the ribbons are very similar. So when we move on to PowerPoint, it's going to be there's going to be less of a learning curve because you already know how to use where you go to find things in Word. You're probably going to go to the same place to find the same thing in PowerPoint. Now, a lot of this stuff is just trying to figure out where things would be. And the easiest way to figure this stuff out is just to ask yourself a question. What are you trying to do, and which of these names of the ribbon make the most sense? So like right now, if I'm in Word, and I wanted to put a picture inside of a document. I want to put a picture inside of a document in Word. So I asked myself, which of these ribbons names make the most sense? Insert, because I want to insert a picture into the document. And so if I click on Insert, there's Picture. Now, let's suppose I want to do a bibliography page or a footnote or an in-text citation, those kinds of things. If I ask myself which of these up here make the most sense about where I would find these, I would sit there, okay, bibliography, citations, footnotes, those are all references. So if I click on there, references, here's footnote, citation, bibliography. If I wanted to like do spell check, which of these make the most sense? How about review? If I click on review, there's spelling and grammar. So using the ribbons is going to make a little bit, hopefully it makes make sense as we use it a little bit more. Now these ribbons, you know, when you're first starting out, it's kind of a good idea to keep these ribbons where you can see them, but you can make them go away. There's this button here on this that says ribbon display options. And there's different things I can do. I can say, right now it says show tabs and commands. So it's just showing everything. So this is what I have selected. But if I just click on show tabs, now it just lists the names of the ribbons. But if I click on it, I see what it is that I see the ribbons. So if I click on the ribbons, I'm going to see them. And if I go outside of it, it'll go away. But the title of the ribbon is still there. Another option is I can just make the ribbons completely go away, auto hide. So now I don't have any ribbons at all. And I got more space to work in. Everything's a little bit bigger. But if I need my ribbons, I can get to them. I just go up here to the top. You see there's like this line that just appeared as I went up there. And if I click up there, my ribbons will show up. So these are different options that you can do. Now, I've gotten where I kind of do the show tabs because I do like to at least see the tabs. All right. So the ribbons are divided into groups. So let's click on the home group. So this is my clipboard group, my slides group, my font group, my paragraph group. So every ribbon is divided into these different groups. Now, sometimes what you're looking for, let me bring up Word because I know this is a good one. Sometimes what you're looking for, you may not find. So like, let's suppose that I wanted to do a first line indent of a paragraph. I don't necessarily see that here. So what I can do is, it's like there's this little box here in this corner. If I click on that, that's going to open up more options. And then, so now I got my indentation, and I see the first line is there. So if you don't see what you're looking for in the tools that are listed in the ribbons, quite often there'll be this little box here, and you can click on it, and it's going to give you a few more options. Okay, so that's talking about groups. This is talking about the collapse thing, so you can hide the ribbons. That's what I just went through. Okay, the quick access toolbar. Let me bring this down into a window version. So here I have a quick access toolbar. Let me make something go away, because I did this previously. I'm making this go away too. I have to do this earlier. All right, so I just made this go away, but I want to show you something. If I want to print right now out of the box, I don't have a real quick way to print. I click on File, and then I click on Print, and then I go here and print. But that's like 2 whole mouse clicks, and that's a lot of work. So I may like to have a quick way of doing it. Well, up at the top you have this quick access toolbar, and depending on what you're doing, let me get Word going again. Depending on what you're doing, you may want to be able to do things quickly. And if there's a command that you use a lot, you may want to put it there so you can do it really, really quickly without having to click a lot or dig for it or anything else. So like, let's suppose I want to put quick print, which is just going to print a one copy of the document that I'm working on, and it's going to send it to the default printer. Quick print. No questions, no anything, just click and it'll send a copy of it to the printer. So I don't have that here, but I can add it. So if I click this arrow next, this is my quick access toolbar. If I click this down arrow, I can add some commands to it, because right now you see I have undo, redo, and save. So undo, redo, save. This is save, this is undo, and this is redo. But what I want to add is quick print. So if I click that, now I have quick print. You see, if I go back in here, there's a check mark next to it. So I have a quick print. So it's going to, if I click on this, it's going to send one copy of this document to my default printer. And you'll see if I put it up there, it's even lists quick print, and it's going to go to my Brother HL2280 printer that's here in my room. Now, if you don't see what you want, there's a ton of these things that you can add. So if you don't see what you want here, you've got more commands. It starts off showing you popular commands, but that's not all of them. There's a ton. If I click on all commands, you'll see that there's just a bunch of them. And I don't even know what they all are, but there's a ton of them. But one that I like, let's see if it's in popular. Yeah. One I like is Save As. You have Save and you have Save As. Save As is just going to give you the opportunity to save a file with a different name. So I may want to add that. So I can click it and I can add it. You see that it pops over here. And then I say OK. And now I have a Save As icon on my Quick Access toolbar. So the Quick Access toolbar is kind of a cool thing. All right. Creating a folder. So if I go into File Explorer, I have a list of different places that I can go. So like if I wanted to go like into the My Documents folder, so if I click on that, here's My Documents. And if I want to create a new folder, I can just, again, what's my favorite shortcut? One of my options is here, click new folder. Or I can, if I hold my mouse over there, it says I can hit Control-Shift-N. My quick way to do it, just because it works everywhere, is right-click, new folder. And then I can save it again with a new name. And so now I have created this brand new folder. Now, so right now I'm in it. So I'm in this PC, I'm in the Documents folder, and I'm in the new folder in the Documents folder on this PC. So if I want to move a file to it, like let's suppose I want to move this file to this one, I can just click and drag it. And now it's gone there, but if I open up new, it's in there now. So this is a way you can move files. I can let's see if I can go back. Another thing I can do is I can create a copy of it. So let's suppose I want to leave it here, but I also want a copy of it here. I can right click and do copy, and then go into the new folder, right click, and then do paste. And so now it's here and here. So folders are really good. It's a good idea for you to use these things to, you know, create a folder structure that makes sense. It's going to let you know where things are. It's really easy to lose stuff. So creating a good folder structure is going to help you out a lot. So that's a way you create a new folder. Expanding or clapping, scrolling through the folder contents. So let's just, again, I'll show you this. So like, let's just dig with something, find something that's going to have a little bit of stuff on it. So here's my C drive. And so here's a folder called program files. So I know this is going to have a lot of stuff in it. So what it is I just double clicked on it, and now I'm in this one. And so now you kind of see how a folder works. It's like, so I have a PC. On the PC, I have a C drive. On the C drive, I'll have a folder called program files. On the program files, I have a folder called iTunes. Don't know where I'm going. And then here I have a folder called iTunes resources. And so you have a whole lot of like folders inside of folders inside of folders inside of folders. And you can set up your own folder structure. I mean, this is you. So it's like, you know, you may want to have a thumb drive that you're going to carry around with you for the next 4 years while you're in college. And so you may want to have a folder that's titled Spring 2016. And in that folder, you may want to have a folder called CIT 105, English 101, psychology, whatever. So you may want to have like those 3 folders. And inside of those 3 folders, you put files in that are related to that class. And then next semester, Fall 2016, you can do it all over again. You can create a new folder called Fall 2016, create subfolders in that folder for each of your classes, and then what you've done is you've kind of created a really good folder structure for you to be able to find things when you need it. You say, oh, I remember I took the CIT 105 class in spring of 2016. Just go to that folder and you'll find hopefully whatever it is you're looking for. It's a little confusing at first, and it takes a little bit of work and it takes a little bit of maintenance, but just keeping it up is actually a pretty good plan. Switching from one app to another is pretty easy. I mean, so like right now I'm in PowerPoint. If I want to switch to Word, I can go down here on the taskbar and now switch to Word. PowerPoint, Word, PowerPoint, Word. And if I put my mouse over it, you can see I get a little screenshot of the application, so I can, you know, to kind of know exactly whatever it is that I want to open. So using your taskbar is a good way to switch from one application to another if you have both of them open at the same time. Saving a file in a folder, I kind of showed you a way of doing that. But let's suppose that I wanted to save a copy of this PowerPoint presentation in that folder that I just created, that new folder. So a way that I can do this is if I just hit File and I just hit Save, it's going to overwrite this presentation wherever it's at. But let's suppose I want to create a brand new copy of it and I want to give it a brand new name. So I can do File, Save As, and if you remember a few minutes ago I created a new icon and I already had it here in PowerPoint called the Save As, the Save As in my Quick Access toolbar. So if I click this, it's going to ask me a couple of questions. One, where do I want it saved? And what do I want to call it? So the default is Documents. It really likes to go to your Documents folder. And this is a good place for it. It's a good place to put things because it's one folder where you can put all of your documents that you create. So let's just suppose I want to create a copy of this in that new folder that I just selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the new folder to open it up, and I'll just leave it named this. So it's Intro Office Win PowerPoint. So I click on Save, and it's saved a copy of it. In case you don't believe me, if I open up Windows Explorer, and then I go to Documents, and then there's a new, there is the presentation I just saved. Okay, so that's saving a folder, saving a file in a folder. Minimizing and restoring a window, I showed you how to do that earlier. Changing the screen resolution, sometimes you may have to do this, and here's how you do it. I know like for Sam, we have to do this. The quickest way to do it is just to go to any blank spot on your desktop. So I'll just get to my desktops. So let's go to any blank spot. So like here's my desktop. I'm just going to go to any blank spot, and I'm just going to right click. And then one of my options when I right click is display settings. So if I click on that, it opened up on the other window. But it's going to open up this window, and you can see I actually have two monitors going on here. So I can select like what I want this thing to look like. I can change the resolutions and stuff like that using this menu. Like here's identify. Let's see which one. So this is 2. So actually this is the one that I'm dealing with. So here's 2. So let's see if I can change this. Let's go here. Let's go to advanced display settings. Right here's my resolution. So right now my resolution is set at 1920 by 1080, which is recommended. It's the highest that this monitor will take. So, but I can change this thing. So if I wanted to change it to 1280 by 1024, I can click on this, and you can see it just kind of like changed it. And if I apply it, when it comes back, it's going to look a little different. Like you can tell, like things are kind of stretched out. And if I hate it, I can like leave this thing alone, and after 7 seconds, it'll go back, or I can just click revert, and it will take me back to what the settings were before. Eventually. So now I'm back to 1920 by 1280. So if you need to change the resolutions on your computer, this is the quick and easy way to do it. Right click, display settings, and again, I'm using Windows 10, so it may be a little different, but you're going to find it here. And then I need to click on advanced display settings, and then whatever. Now, like this, I have 2 monitors going, so right now I didn't know which monitor I was actually doing this on. So if I can click on identify, it's going to say that this is monitor 2. So if I select monitor 2 and make changes, I'm going to make changes to this one. If I want to make changes on monitor 1, select monitor 1, and then I make changes there. Extend the displays just means that you're going to, I've got 2 monitors, but they're really acting as one. And it's going to go this way. So monitor 2, monitor 1. So if I slide things, you can't see this because I'm just showing you one monitor, but here's something that's on monitor 1, and I'm going to slide it over to monitor 2. But if I click on this and I can slide it over, I'm going from 1 to 2. And the reason this works is because of the way these things are set up. Now I can move these things. If I were to switch these around like that, now it would go backwards, but that's not the way I want it. I want it to go this way. So I'm going to click cancel just so everything stays the way it was before. All right, so that's changing your resolution. It's bigger so we can see everything. All right. So it's talking about all that. PowerPoint, a full feature presentation app that allows you to produce compelling presentations, deliver and share to an audience. So this is PowerPoint. This is PowerPoint. So talk about, again, this is different ways. This is talking about the charms bar. I don't have that in Windows 10, thank God. But the different ways of doing this. If you have Windows 10 or Windows 8, it tells you how to do that. There, like I said, there's different ways to do it. I generally have like the applications that I use a lot. So as an example, like let's suppose I had iTunes and I use iTunes a lot. I could right click on iTunes and then I could pin this to the taskbar. So if I pin this to the taskbar, you may just see this, it just added iTunes to my taskbar. So if there's things that you use a lot, so like, let's see if I can find uh, some stuff. So let's just go to all apps. I'm going to try to find Excel. So let's go and see if we can find it. I always hate it because they move things into different spots. Microsoft Office 2013. So you see, like, here's Office 2013. So I know Excel is part of that, and there's a down arrow. So I bet if I click on this, and I did, it opened up that folder, and I'm going to find a lot of things. So here's Excel. So let's suppose I use Excel a lot. I can right-click on it, pin to start. This is going to be a little bit different. Pin to start, and you see it pinned it right here. So now it gave me a tile. So I can do it that way. So there's different ways that you can launch applications. So now if I want to open up Excel, I can click on this. I can scroll down, and there's Excel right there. And I wonder if I bet I can probably drag this and put it here. And now I just pinned it to my taskbar. So there's different ways that you can launch things. Another way, again, this is the way I showed you before. I could go in here and type in Excel, and there it is. And if I click on it, it'll open up. Okay, so that's just different ways of opening up applications. And like I said, this talks about a few. And this is if you have Windows 8, this is what it looks like. You'll bounce your mouse against the right-hand side of your screen, and eventually you'll see like a little charms bar that will open up. One of your options is a magnifying glass. That's search, and so you can type in what you're looking for, and it'll bring it up. So this is talking about PowerPoint. Like I said, we'll talk about this a little bit later when we actually get into the PowerPoint chapter. But this is what the PowerPoint windows will look like. This is your main area where you do your work. This is your thumbnail views of your slides. This is the work area. You've got a scroll bar over here that lets you scroll through the slides. Scroll through the slides over here if you have enough of them. So, like I said, we'll discuss this a little bit deeper when we get into it. Again, like I said, we've got a ribbon up here that we deal with. Creating a document from the backstage view. All right, so what this is talking about is it says tap file on the ribbon to open backstage view. So if I want to open up create a brand new, and just to show you, this is talking about doing it in PowerPoint, but I can do the same thing in Word. I can click on File and then go to New, and it's going to give me the opportunity to create a brand new document. So I can do the same thing in PowerPoint. File, New, and then create a brand new presentation in PowerPoint. So this is just a way of doing it through Backstage View. I don't know why it's called that, but it just is. Now, if let's suppose that you've been working on something and you were working on it yesterday, but you don't know what you called it, or you just really want to open it up really, really quickly. Again, I'll do this in Word. I don't need to put that on my desktop, don't I? Let's just do that. Pin the taskbar, so that'll show up. So I'm going to open up Word. Now, when I open up Word, just open it up. Here's like a list of things that I have been working on recently. So you can tell I've been working on things for this class. So like, let's suppose I know I've been working on a syllabus test. That's something that I was working on recently. But wait a minute, that's on my E drive. I won't find it there unless I need something that's going to find. I may not find anything now that I'm thinking about it. let's just do this with, actually, I just installed Windows on this computer, so I probably don't have any of these files. Ah, look, it did find something. So I don't know what this is, but apparently something for a word test or something. But so you can open up recent files. So if you click on File, so if you open up Word, just brand new, or if you're working on something, like if I'm here, File, Open. If I just click File and then Open, here's recent presentations that I've had open. So like. You know, these are some of the more recent presentations. So I click on that, and it's going to take me back to these things if I can get to them. Now, a lot of these were on my thumb drive, and my thumb drive's not plugged in, so it's not going to find them. All right, moving on. Excel. Excel is a powerful spreadsheet application that allows users to organize data, complete calculations, make decisions, graph data, develop professional-looking reports, publish organized data to the web, access real-time data from website. So again, this is, if I open up Excel, so I'm just clicking on this new little thing I made on my taskbar. In its basic, so I'm just going to create a basic worksheet. This is Excel. Again, you'll notice I have ribbons up here at the top. I have a home ribbon. I have an insert ribbon. Some of this other stuff is, you had a page layout in Word. You didn't have one in PowerPoint. But you do have a formulas ribbon. You didn't have that anywhere else. So this is what PowerPoint looks, or what, not PowerPoint, but Excel looks like. So this is a worksheet inside of a workbook. So right now this workbook only has one sheet, sheet 1. But you can have a workbook that contains multiple sheets. So like if you were doing your finances for a business, you may want to have a sheet for every year, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. So you may want to have a sheet for every year so you can get to it and organize it and you know where everything is. So this is an example of graphs that you can create. Here's a this is a small sheet, and here you see we have the total. That was done with a formula. We created a formula that added these things up and gave us a total. Added these things up and gave us a total. So when we get to Excel, there will be math. Not hard math. It will be pretty easy, but there will be some math. This is talking about running an app from File Explorer and opening a file. So I'll show you how this, let's see, this. I'm going to go to File Explorer. So this is that folder that I'm going to go to that Documents folder. I'm going to go to that one that I just created. So here's the, let's see, did I put it, is it still there? Yeah. So this is that folder, or this is that document that I just moved in here. So this is just showing another way that you can open them. All right, so I'm going to shut down Word. So you see Word down here. I do not have this. I don't have the blue underline under it, so it's not on at all. But this is a Word document. So if I double click this document, it's going to open up Word. And this is the operating system doing some pretty important stuff. If I double click this, the operating system is kind of saying to itself, okay, he wants to open up this thing. It's got a docx extension, docx. What do we have? What do we use to open up docx's? Well, we use Word. So the first thing we have to do is open up Word, and then we have to open up this document in Word. So this is the operating system making a whole lot of these decisions. We got to open up Word, so it's going to go to the hard drive, pull off all the ones and zeros that make Word open up, move those to memory, open up Word, and then open up this document inside of Word. So if I double click this, all that kind of stuff happens. Word is opening up, and then when it opens up, here is the document inside of it. So that's how you open up a file and an application inside from using File Explorer. So you don't necessarily, if you're going to open up a Word document, you don't have to have Word open up first. You can just click on the document and it will automatically open up Word for you. Okay. This is talking about, again, we're back on Excel. Entering data into this box right here, A1, is my active cell. If you've ever played Battleship as a kid, This is the way Excel works. So right now I'm going to click on cell D4. So where column D intersects row 4. So this is column D. This is row 4. So where those two intersect, the address for this is D4. You'll see that this is my address over here. So I'm in cell D4. This is my active cell. So anything that I type, that's where it's going to go. Now it may creep over and it looks like it's gone into cell E4, but it hasn't. And I know that it hasn't because this is my formula bar, and this will tell me what the contents of any cell is. So if I click on cell D2, there's nothing in it because it's empty. If I click on D4, it's got all this stuff in it. But if I click on E4, it looks like it should have something in it, but if I click on it, it doesn't. It's empty. It just lets me see, if I were to make this D column a little bit bigger, you can see that this has all the data, this has none of the data. It just lets me see it because there's nothing in cell E4. So, but if as soon as I start typing something in it, that stuff is in cell E4. Now, this stuff is still there. It didn't go away just because I can't see it. It's still there. It's just that column isn't big enough for me to see everything. So that happens a lot. But that's how you enter stuff into a cell. You just click it and then you type, and the data will go into it. All right. Saving a file. I showed you different ways of doing this. This is using the save button. The first time you try to save a file, so like this one, the first time I try to save it, it's going to ask me a couple of questions, where I want to save it, and what I want to call it. So like, let's suppose I want to save it to that folder that I just created. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go to Documents, and I'm going to go to New, and I'll just leave this. Let's call it New Excel. New Excel. And then I'm going to hit Save. And so now you see that the title of this thing is New Excel. And if I go to my Documents folder, there it is. It's in that folder, the new folder that I just created earlier. Now if I make changes to it, so I'm making some changes to the spreadsheet. Just added some more data in it. If I go up here and I click that same button that I clicked before, it's not going to ask me those questions. I just click it and it acts like nothing happened. It just spun real quickly. But what it did was it overwrote, because there's still just one new Excel here, it overwrote the old new Excel with the new Excel. Now that's different than save as. So if I do let's suppose I want to add that save as to this one. So I'm going to go to more commands, and just because I like it there. Save as, add, OK. So now I got my save as button. So now if I click on this, it's going to give me an opportunity to give it a new name. So I'm going to call it New Excel. I'm really original on these names. So it's saved. And so now if I go over here, I not only have New Excel, but I have New Excel. So 2 copies of the same. So this is the way you create different copies of the same thing. Okay. Access. Access is its own animal. Access is a database management system. Software allows a computer to create a database, add, change, delete data in a database. Create queries is where you're asking the database a question. Create forms and reports using the data in the database. Databases are crazy. We'll spend a couple of days talking about them. They just run a little bit differently than things that we've dealt with before, but you're going to open them up the same way. You're going to go to your Access inside of Office, and you're going to create it. Now this is an example of a database. So over here on this side, we have objects. So these are my tables, these are my queries, these are my forms, these are my reports. So I have, looks like 4 tables, 3 queries, a bunch of forms, and I don't know how many reports. But this is, looks like this is a query, and I can say that because I can see that this icon looks like, I'm sorry, these are forms. Let I don't know which one we're looking at actually. So this is queries and this is contacts. So these are like different. And you see, I got a ribbon up here just like I normally would, but access is going to be a different animal. So just kind of be prepared for access to kind of like make your head hurt a little bit. Some folks like it a lot. Some folks, they just really dread it. Just keep up with it and you'll be okay. So this is talking about like how we do things in Access. So we can create a brand new database just the same way we created a brand new presentation, just the same way we created a brand new spreadsheet. We can create a blank database. The first thing that it's going to want us to do is give the database a name and a location, because we have to actually save the database before we create the database, which sounds incredibly weird, but that's just the way Access works. Access is different. So we need to create the database or save the database before we can go about creating it. So you're going to ask, it's going to ask you for a name and it's going to ask you for a location. So like, I'll just do it. So I'm going to go Access. Once I learn to spell it. Access. Let's just go ahead and pin that to the taskbar just because I don't want to need it. So I'm going to click on it. It's going to open up. If I say I want to create a brand new database, it's going to ask me first what I want to call it and where I want to save it. So it wants to save it to documents. So I'm just going to say, I'm just going to call this thing new database. And I'm going to save this thing in that new folder. So click on it. Right now I'm in the new folder. So I'll click OK. And then I'm going to say create. And so when I open this thing up, the first thing it wants me to do is create a table. Because before we do anything else in Access, we've got to create a table. I know I'm going over this unbelievably quickly. Don't worry, we will get deep into the woods on Access when the time rolls around. I promise. So just be ready. Okay. So again, this is what it looks like, and that's exactly what I showed you here. Talking about opening existing files. So this is kind of the way I showed you the way that you could open a file that you had open before. You can either scroll around through File Explorer, you can open up the application, look at recent things. You can search around. If you don't show it in recents, you can click on File and then Open, and then you can actually go searching. So I can go File and then New Folder, and then I can maybe find whatever it is that I'm looking for. So it's just a lot of different ways to do the exact same thing. If I want to rename a file, so like let's go here again, and I want to rename this new to, I'm going to rename this thing to new 2. So I'm going to like, here's the quickest way to do it. What's my favorite shortcut? I'm going to right click. One of my options is rename. You can see that it's highlights this up. So I'm just going to get rid of a new and just going to call it new 2. So new 2 Excel. And I click enter. Oh, it's got it open. Sorry, it doesn't like it because I've got it. It won't let me rename it if I've got it open. So I just closed it and try again. So now it'll work. So that's the way you rename a file. Moving a file, I showed you how to do this earlier. So if I want to move, let me move this. I'm gonna cut this, and then I'm going to go over to documents and just paste it here. So like here's new 2, this one, and I want to move it to the new folder. I can just click and drag. That's going to get it there. Or I can cut it and go into the new folder and paste it. But if I click on the new, you'll see that new 2 is there. So that's just doing it. That's just moving a folder by dragging it. Deleting a file, pretty easy that way too. I can just right click if I want to get rid of this new Excel. I don't need it anymore. What's my favorite shortcut? Right click. I can right click on it and then delete. Now I could also just select it and then hit the delete key, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to ask me if I'm sure I want it. It's going to put it in the recycle bin. So if I make a mistake, it will end up here in the recycle bin. So I can get it back, provided I haven't emptied my recycle bin. All right, that's where you delete a file. Help. All of the applications have help. So if I click on this little question mark, it's going to open up a help window. Now, ask me my opinion on this. It's not necessarily the best. There are categories, and it's going to like, here's PowerPoint help, and it's going to ask me things about PowerPoint. Yeah, it's okay. My favorite help is just Googling. If there's something you want to do, if I want to learn how to add a new slide in PowerPoint, I can go over here to, let's get to Google. So here's Google, and I can say add slide, and then here's add slide in PowerPoint. So I can click on that, and it's going to show me like how to. It's going to give me a few different sites. It shows me how to do this. Like here's a real quick one. So I'm generally a pretty big fan of Googling. So I mean, I'm not a huge believer in Windows Help, but it is there if you need it. All right, moving a window by dragging. I showed you how to do that earlier. How to move a window around. This is showing you how to move Windows Help around. So I'll show you what they're doing. So I can just click on this window and drag it. Woo-hoo. Or I could have done the same thing with this window. All right, resizing a window. Now this I didn't show you. So like this window it's a window. It's not full screen. It's not minimized. It's somewhere in between. And I can change the size of this thing just by grabbing an edge of it. You see, like here, my mouse cursor is like a two-headed arrow. I hope you can see this. My mouse cursor is a two-headed arrow. When it's in a corner, it's kind of a diagonal arrow. When I'm up at the top, it's an up and down arrow. When I'm on the left or the right side, it's a two-headed arrow going left or right. This will, depending on what your mouse looks like, what your mouse pointer looks like, it's going to do. So like if I have a left and right arrow, it's going to increase or decrease the width of the window. If I have an up or down arrow, it's going to increase or decrease the height of the window. If I have a double-headed arrow, it's going to do both. It's going to increase the width and the height at the same time. So I generally go there. Apparently, move some stuff around. Okay. So that's how we increase or decrease by dragging. Okay. So, sorry, I was getting a couple texts. So, oh, look, that's the end of the slot. That's the end of this chapter, and it's only 53 minutes. Wow. So, sorry, I didn't think I could talk that long. But anyway, that's the Office 2013 Windows 8, Windows 10 chapter. So, have a good day, and we will talk again soon.